things were just turning into a total nightmare.
My response to him was, I want my wife to come home with me. I want our kids to have a mommy.
Life throws many challenges our way. However, it's not the challenge that defines us, but how we handle it. Today I have with me a couple I've known for several years, Niki and Manan Patel. Why don't we get started by you telling us a little bit about your family and your involvement with BAPS?
We live happily together in a joint family with our 2 kids, my parents, and Niki and I got involved with BAPS when we were in middle school.
A year ago, I understand things were a little bit more tentative. Would you mind sharing the details with us?
Yeah, so my first pregnancy ended up in a C-section, and our son was also in the intensive care unit. This time I wanted a different experience. So, during the pregnancy, I was getting monitored and got all the tests, and so the ultrasound showed fluid around the baby's heart, and we didn't know if that meant there would be extra complications or if it would mean nothing. When we heard about these complications and the possibility of complications, we decided that we wanted to write a letter to Mahan Maharaj. And in that letter, Mahan Maharaj actually responded within 48 hours. And in the letter, he told us that don't let your faith waver, keep strength and keep courage. Little did I know that his words were going to be so important for me during our pregnancy and during our delivery.
What made you seek his guidance and blessings?
So we've always reached out for guidance to our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj and Mahan Swami Maharaj. We've written to them when we wanted to pick a career, what school to go to, where to live, what to buy as a business, and even when we were getting married to one another. They've guided us every single time.
We had no idea that February 2021 was going to be one of the most challenging times of our life. I was actually getting past my due date, so I was getting monitored more frequently, and the amniotic fluid around the baby was starting to get a little low. So the doctor and we decided that it was the best option to go for an induction to deliver the baby.
We were positive and we were excited that we're gonna see our baby today. But the doctors kept showing concerns about the baby's heart rate that kept dropping multiple times during the induction. I still remember he rushed in with 10 to 12 people at the end and said that we need to start pushing the baby out now. Next thing you know, the doctors just said, we need to go to the OR now. The baby's heart rate is not coming back up. They wheeled Niki out within seconds, but I still remember that within all this chaos that was going on, Niki was calm.
I was really trying to focus on the Swaminarayan mantra that was playing on Manan's phone. And that kind of gave me a little sense of calmness, I guess. Within a few minutes, as he said, I was wheeled into the operating room and I was a mother for the second time. The baby was handed over to us and I was so excited when Manan announced it's a girl because we didn't know the gender at the time and it was a total surprise to us. But in the next few minutes, I heard the doctor say to the nurse that she's losing a lot of blood. There's significant tears down both sides of her uterus and she may need a hysterectomy. And when I heard these words, I was shocked. I was so prepared. We were very positive. And then things were just turning into a total nightmare.
I felt like I was rushed out of the OR and taken to the nursery with our baby daughter. This is not normal. Right away, I had the nurse reach out to the OR for an update. The nurse said the doctors are still working on her and it's gonna take a little longer and the doctor will come visit you when he's ready. I started panicking. Why does the doctor need to come visit me? This is not normal. I'm supposed to go take the baby to the mother now. The doctor came 90 minutes later to give me an update. He said, your wife has lost about 3 liters of blood. We've given her a blood transfusion. We're having a really hard time operating on her. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say. My response to him was, I want my wife to come home with me. I want our kids to have a mommy. He looked at me and said, look, our main goal is to save your wife's life. My first phone call was to a Swami at BAPS Swaminarayan Mandir in Edison, New Jersey. I was very close to him for many years. He actually said, look, Manan, you need to have faith, you need to have patience, and let the doctors do their job. This will all be a distant memory in the near future. I will pray for you, and he advised me that I should write to our Guru Mahan Swami Maharaj for his blessings. The hard part is now talking to my family members. I was stressed. But luckily, when I gave the information to my parents, they actually gave me more strength than stress at that time. They actually reminded me that everything happens for a reason. And they actually reminded me that we need to apply the things that we've learned on our weekly assemblies at the mandir, and to apply all the things that you've learned from the scriptures and spiritual readings that I've done. They also said from a verse that Mahan Swami Maharaj wrote in a scripture called Satsang Diksha, Bhagwan je kare is sadai sara mate hoy. Meaning that whatever God does, it's for the good. Whatever Bhagwan and God does, it's for our betterment, and everything happens because of God's wish. I felt a little relieved at that time. So what they sat together and they prayed for mommy. I was waiting there for 2.5 hours, just praying to have strength and courage to get through this entire situation. But finally, the doctor comes back in. I couldn't look up at him. I just kept looking at the image of my guru that I had with me at that time. The doctor said, your wife is stable. The bleeding has stopped. I'm going to take you to your wife now.
Niki Ben, Manan Bhai, with your experience, when you reflect on it, how do you feel about it?
Initially, when things don't go our way, you always tend to question yourself. Is this my fault? Could I have done anything differently? And why did this even happen to us, right? These thoughts naturally come to us.
And honestly, we were supposed to go to a much smaller hospital, which was only 10 minutes from our house. But I don't know what happened, but our instincts made us drive an hour away and go to a much bigger hospital. Luckily, it was a trauma center. They had the blood bank available on site, and they had the expert surgeons for situations like these. I truly believe that if we went to a smaller hospital with limited resources, I feel that Niki might have not made it, or maybe even our daughter, or maybe both. I truly believe that God protected us. And going through this experience actually gave us more faith and courage to go through any other obstacles that may come our way.
I agree. And I feel like everything in life is about perspective. Pramukh Sai Maharaj himself had gone through bypass surgery. He had multiple surgeries and other physical hardships, yet you never saw any pain, any fear or doubt in him. He always said that God is always with you through the ups and downs. After the birth, I started listening to his life's biography and listening to his, inspirational stories from his life, and that gave me a lot of motivation. I had a very difficult postpartum recovery, physically and emotionally. I feel like because I was able to fall back on the strength of prayer and gratitude and appreciation that Mandir had given me such a great foundation of being emotionally resilient, that helped me go through this situation. I have a quote on my desk from Mahan Swami Maharaj that says, if God answers your prayers, he is increasing your faith. If he delays, he is increasing your patience. And if he doesn't answer, then he knows you can handle it. I feel like I went through this situation and we went through this situation, and it was sort of like a test for us, a test of our understanding and a test of our faith and not letting that waver, like Mahan Swami Maharaj had written in his letter to us. I feel like if we didn't go through this situation, and I wouldn't have had this understanding if we didn't have satsang in our life.
On February 14th, 2022, Manan Bhai, Niki Ben, their parents, and big brother Samp celebrated his little sister's first birthday. The events of a year earlier are now just a distant memory. By sharing their experience with us today and the lessons they learned, Niki Ben and Manan Bhai were able to dig deep inside and find peace. And that's actually why they chose the Sanskrit word for peace to name their daughter, Shanti.